Encounters with wildlife are often unpredictable and can sometimes result in an incredible tale. Tales grow into legends, and the legends usually depart from reality. Today we'll look at the legend of the desert, a creature with armored skin, fire in its mouth, and a dragon like appearance, the Western Diamondback.
Hi, I'm Miguel Caldera, and today I'm looking for a legend of the desert. A creature which has no legs, it's covered in scales, and can see the world through heat-sensing organs. This creature strikes fear in the hearts of many because it can deliver a very toxic bite. If you've guessed that we're looking for a rattlesnake, you're right. Let's go find a viper.
If we're going to find a nocturnal creature in the early morning, we'll have to look for cool, dark areas in which one might take shelter.
Nothing there.
We'll continue scanning the ground for signs. Like this. A shed skin. Rattlesnakes can shed their skin 3 to 4 times each year.
So I just found this snake skin. One of the cool things about the shed of a snake is that you can learn a lot from it. Sometimes you can tell what type of snake it is just by looking at it. This one here I believe was a bull snake, also known as a gopher snake or a pine snake. And looking at the head scales is one of the most efficient ways of determining what it was. And this certainly was not what we're looking for, the rattlesnake. And that can be told by the tail piece, which actually is broken off over there. Didn't have any segments on it. But this means we're getting close. And I'm going to show you up close. You can actually see the eye skin which comes off. It clouds over as they're getting ready to shed. And that's one of the times in which they're most aggressive because they can't see very well. But check that out. Not a bad find. Snakes definitely are in the area. We just got to narrow it down and find out what we're looking for.
Not far away. A bull snake of comparable size. And with a hot temper.
Boy, is that frustrating. That little gopher snake, also known as a bull snake or a pine snake, was probably the most aggressive that I've ever come across. Never had I had a bull snake so vigorously strike and lunge. And before I could push through all of this mesquite thorns, he slipped away into a rabbit hole. Well, at least it was a snake. Let's continue searching and see if we can come across what we're really looking for, the rattlesnake. So I just found this little family of field mice. I'm gonna lift this here warped piece of metal and show them to you guys. These guys are out here. They're gonna be prey for the rattlesnake, but we really need to find the rattlesnake. But check these guys out anyway. kind of cute, aren't they? Yeah, they're really cute. I don't want to disturb their home too much. I'm going to put it back the way I had it so that mother rat can come back and these little guys can get back to life. You know, it's a shame. Come across so many when I'm not looking for them. I set out to find one and I can't find one anywhere. That's just craziness.
After many long hours of searching, a setting sun forced me to do one thing I hoped I wouldn't have to. Pack it up and put the project on hold. Weeks later, I set out under a foreboding sky, longing to hear a telltale sound. Would I encounter a rattler today? Or would all my past encounters be mere tale?
This is exactly what I've been looking for. The Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. This is probably the largest rattlesnake in the western United States. It is the legend of the desert. It has a hemotoxic venom that destroys blood cells, and you can see just how beautiful it is in that S-shaped pattern. I've got to be very careful here. Now, some people think that going out to handle or play and approach a rattlesnake is a good way to catch a quick thrill. For example, what do you do when you see a dangerous rattlesnake? Take a selfie. However, approaching and handling a rattlesnake is really just a good way to catch a quick ride to the hospital. Antivenom starts at about $5,000 per vial, and the typical starter dose is about 20 vials. At $100,000 for your first dose, handling a rattlesnake can very quickly become a very expensive thrill. Now, the best way to appreciate these creatures is from outside of striking distance. And I never hold a rattlesnake unless I have to. Relocating it from someone's home or to get it out of a path, usually they do that just on their own. Staying outside of striking distance is the most important thing when appreciating these animals.
Although that rattle may send chills up your spine, remember that in most encounters, the diamondback has one desire: to get as far away from you as fast as it can.
rattlesnakes are ectotherms, which means they have to get their energy from the heat of the sun. And as you can see, this is a large one, probably full grown in length. Now remember, these are highly venomous snakes. I implore of you, never try to recreate or reenact what you're about to see me do here and now. I'm prepared with both internal and external antidote should I take a bite. So please enjoy these creatures from beyond striking distance. I just want to get him close to the camera so that I can show you the white and black banding on its tail and the scales on its head. All right, as you can see, it has many little scales on the top of its head. It is a very beautiful snake, and those little scales are exactly how you tell a Mojave from a diamondback. This being a diamondback has lots of little scales. The Mojave is going to have many larger scales. Captain Correction, to the rescue. What Miguel meant to say was few larger scales. The Mojave usually only has 2 large scales between its supraoculars, whereas this diamondback has many tiny ones. Okay, now this guy's being very cooperative, and I appreciate that. Let's take a look at its tail here. That rattling is where it gets its signature name, the rattlesnake. Okay, and those black and white bands are how another way that you can tell that it is a diamondback and not a Mojave. The diamondback has equal width black and white bands, where the Mojave is going to have thinner black bands than white bands. This one's about 4 feet long. As you can see, that's about full grown length. It has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's about 1.5, 2 years old. I'm going to go ahead and release it. And you can see that it really doesn't want to waste its venom on something as large as myself. It's basically saying, look, I can't eat you. I don't want to take a bite. Now, as we were up close, you could see that it has these big venom glands in this really small neck. One of the big myths about rattlesnakes is that a baby rattlesnake will deliver a more dangerous bite than an adult. That simply isn't true. Think of this. You have a venom gland in a baby, the size of a pebble. Then you have, in an adult, the venom gland the size of a rock. Even if that baby released its entire store of venom, it wouldn't be equal to a single bite of that of an adult, simply because of capacity. Would they ever release their entire store of venom? No, because then they would put themselves at risk of starvation, as that is their primary means of catching prey. Secondly, if you think about it, if you've ever milked a snake, or if you've ever seen someone milk a snake, there are two main factors that determine how much venom is released. One is the pressure with which the bite is given, and two is the duration of the bite. If you take the head and put it on the cellophane and you push down and you massage it for a minute, you're going to get much more venom into your vial than you would if you were to simply tap and go. So again, the adult is going to give so much more venom than the baby. That myth isn't valid. Again, you don't want to get bitten by any rattlesnake, but the idea that the babies are more dangerous than the adults simply is not true. And thank you for being cooperative.
Native to the southwestern United States, the diamondback is a nocturnal hunter, as indicated by its vertical pupils. It will eat small mammals, lizards, and birds. Prey to roadrunners, hogs, raptors, and king snakes, the diamondback will first opt for camouflage by remaining still, followed by a warning rattle, and lastly, a strike.
The diamondbacks certainly are beautiful creatures and legends of the desert. Until next time, I'm Miguel Caldera. Get out and enjoy your hunt for nature.
Few would dare to get so close to a rattlesnake as I, let alone touch it, and with good reason. While beautiful, these creatures contain a very toxic bite. It reminds me of the writings of a king, who wrote of those who speak lies. The king wrote, "Their poison is like the poison of a serpent." It is made obvious through nature that it is safest to avoid all toxic mouths.